Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are jumping right into a try new makeup of all drugstore products. I couldn't wait to film this video. It's finally here. I have tons of new stuff. I filmed a drugstore haul. You saw all the products that I picked up. Things that you guys recommended that I try, everything's here. So let's dive in. For brows, I picked up NYX the Brow Glue, and I heard really good things about this. This is one of those lamination gels that really slicks the hair down, so I've heard. I love these tiny brushes for applying product, and I can already tell it's a really good consistency. Definitely one that I would like. It feels like my Got to Be Glued, but in a different component. I know they came out with a brow gel, but I have not been able to find it. Then to fill in my brows, I'm using my CoverGirl Clean Fresh Brow Micro Pencil. This is amazing. This is my go-to brow pencil. You guys have seen this already. It's my favorite teeny tiny brow pencil for filling in my brows. I'm going to quickly fill in my brows, then we're going to move on to complexion. We're going to keep the eyes really simple today and do one of my everyday looks. I just realized that I forgot to self-tan my face. I usually use a facial water, and my tan is even more noticeable today. The difference between my face, neck, hands, all that. I'm hoping this complexion works. But before we move on, I'm just gonna throw in my sunscreen. This is my last step when I do my skincare, and then I move on with my makeup products. So any kind of primers, glow drops, all that I do after sunscreen. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Almost done this. This has been the only air pump for a product that has actually ever worked for me. I loved this sunscreen so much. I'll have it linked below. I think this one was really good for summer for me, or if you have more normal to oily skin, because I'm going to try a couple different ones moving into the cooler months that are a little bit more hydrating. This one has a beautiful velvety finish. It doesn't feel dry at all. It just has a really nice finish, especially for underneath makeup. It's the Hero Wonder sunscreen, if you're curious. This I've been absolutely loving. This next product was a product request from one of you guys. You told me to pick up the e.l.f. bronzing drops, and I have the shade Pure Gold. This I heard you need to mix in with a moisturizer, so I'm going to be doing that today. I have the Inkey List Omega Water Cream that I've been really wanting to try. You can get Inkey List at Sephora, but their prices are even more affordable than drugstore, honestly. They're so good, and I'm hoping this is a dupe for the Tatcha, so I'm curious to try this moisturizer out. I'm just going to take a little bit of moisturizer, mix in the drops. My tan is wild right now. How did I forget to do my face? I knew I was filming today. I'm gonna use that much there. See how this goes. It's one of the most perfect colors for bronzing drops right there. Wow. That worked out nicely. So hopefully this gives me more color to my face so that when I put on my foundation, which is more so a tinted moisturizer, I feel, I need that extra color underneath for things to actually match. So this couldn't have worked out better, honestly. Everything happens for a reason. Forgot for a reason, so you could actually see how bronzy this makes my skin. I love that that's actually bronze and not glitter or anything like that. Mixed with that moisturizer, it honestly reminds me a lot of my MakeupByCheryl, my serum one. I was hoping for an affordable bronzing drop option, and I love that mixed in with that moisturizer specifically. I'll try it with other moisturizers. I think this is a really good combo. It doesn't look as drastic now, which is good. So we're moving on to primer. I have this from CoverGirl. I'm just gonna let this set down a little bit before I go in with this. This is one of those pore erasing primers. This is called the Skin Enhancer Primer Base. It is number 20 Velvet Blur. They have a bunch of different variations. I think they have 4, I'm not sure, but I know there was a hydrating one, this one, maybe a color correcting, and something else maybe. But I picked up the pore erasing one, and I love a pore filling primer, as you guys know. I've tried literally all of them on the market. I do have my favorites, so we'll see how this works. It says you can wear alone or under makeup. I'm gonna start with that much. I love this consistency. It's not thick. It is very velvety. Feels almost like a hydrating smoothing primer. Wow, that feels good. We'll see how makeup applies on top. I feel this has maybe a little too much slip potentially, but I do initially like it. It spreads really easily. Hopefully that dries down. I just feel like it keeps moving. And then for foundation today, I picked this one up from CoverGirl. It didn't get the best ratings online, but I've seen people use this and I thought their skin looked really good. So I picked this up. It's the Clean Invisible Foundation in Sand Beige. It says this is a new look, so they originally had this and now it's fragrance free, which is always good for skin products. So I did have a little bit on my eyelids. It's very sheer in its formulation. This is what sand beige looks like. Looked really dark in the tube. Again, this is very hydrating. I found that lately I need a hydrating foundation. I can't use my overly matte ones as much as I used to. And if I do, I definitely don't need to powder. We'll see how buildable this is. Has a nice, even, fairly light coverage. Yeah, I'd say it's a light coverage, but it looks even. It doesn't go on patchy, which is nice. Sometimes when things are more lightly formulated, I find they can look a little bit patchy on my skin. This is really nice and even. That's one light layer. I'm gonna go in with 2, and then we can just correct with concealer if we need it, which I will. That built up really nice. It's like effortless. My skin is just eating this formula up. It loves it. Melting in. Can't imagine this being very long wearing, just with how hydrating it is and how my skin is literally gobbling this up. Why did I use the word gobble? So close to Thanksgiving in Canada. So that is beautiful, very hydrating. It's like a thinner version of Makeup by Cheryl because the finish is very luminous. I think that's really pretty. I like to start off very glowy when we add all our powder to the skin. So now I have my new little repair kit here from Quo, and this is just a cream concealer palette. It has a bunch of different shades. I thought we could play around with possibly doing some for bronzing too, depending on the tones of this. So we're just gonna go ahead and play around with the colors. I think I'm gonna go in with this shade for my concealer. This one looks a little too light for me. So that's the second shade. Has a good amount of coverage. It's nice and thin for a cream. Playing nicely with this foundation too. Yeah, so far I like it. We'll see if it creases though, but I'll have to test it with another foundation as well, just because this foundation alone feels very slippery. But so far, really nice formula. Sometimes with a cream palette like this, you don't know if it's gonna be too stiff, but this has a nice emolliency to it. I like a little bit on my nose for coverage and highlighting. And just tie that into the forehead. I'm gonna dip into this color here, the third one. Can we cover that spot? A little bit. I'd say this is just a medium coverage. Definitely not full. I'm gonna use the third shade for any blemishes that I might have. And the fourth shade might be a little too warm, but I'm gonna give it a try for bronzing. I'm not personally a fan of that undertone myself. A little too warm, I'd say, for that bronzer. I don't know. The undertone is off. I'm not gonna put that on my forehead. I'm just gonna use it on the cheeks. We are gonna go over with a different bronzer. I just wanted to see tonally how that was, but looking a little yellow. Might be nice for in the crease though. Just gonna take a little bit of that on an eyeshadow brush. So we definitely need to powder the face, get everything nice and smooth looking. I have this HD finishing powder from NYX, and I've seen people use this underneath their eyes. It's nice and brightening. Don't believe I'll be able to use this all over my face, so I'm gonna quickly set that with something else, but we're gonna see how it looks like underneath the eyes. Make sure I don't have any creases, which this isn't actually creasing, surprisingly. That is really nice and brightening and super smoothing. Wow. I loved how this looked like on someone online. I didn't know if it was just a filter or whatnot, but 100%. This is very brightening, very smoothing. I'm gonna be using this underneath my eyes, 100%. I love that. This is kind of what I wanted the Tower 28 powder to be, which I did pick that up. I haven't shown you guys that on camera. People are comparing it to Charlotte Tilbury, saying they like it better. I think it's really dry, honestly, on my skin. I keep trying to test it out, but this is what I wanted that to be. And it's way cheaper. This is gonna be a new favorite, 100%. You know what? Let's just set the whole face with this. Could be a bad idea, but I feel like once we add the bronzer back, it's gonna be all right. It's just a finishing powder too. It's like a light set, which my skin loves. Yeah, we'll be able to make this work actually. So get this. Always looking for some drugstore alternatives. I am getting a little bit of hard pan, but that happens with my Charlotte Tilbury, and that's my favorite pressed powder. So not something that really bothers me, but I just wanted to note that it is very, very dewy though when I'm going in with this. So I'm obviously adding that kind of oil back to the pan, which is kind of inevitable for a hard pan to happen, but just something I deal with. This is how I like to apply my powder, with a puff. We are a little light, but I feel like with setting spray, bronzing, everything will come together, which we're gonna move on to bronzer because we need to get some dimension back to this face. And I have this Buttermelt bronzer from NYX also. Picked up a bunch of NYX for this video. They always have such great releases from the drugstore. I got the shade Butter Biscuit, which is medium golden, which I thought would be perfect for me. I'm gonna use the clean side of my Smith brush. This is very pigmented. I'm gonna have to be very light-handed. This kind of formula for me is gonna be a little bit hard to work with if it's that pigmented for bronzer, because I can go 0 to 100 real quick with something like this and overdo it. Just gonna try and be very light-handed with the color. I'm glad I picked up this color. Creamy. It's blending really nicely, even though it is super pigmented. Went a little overboard here. Where's my repair kit? When that happens, I just go back in with my foundation brush. It melts everything together. And then obviously just have to go back in with powder if you want that glow to go away. But that kind of gave me Makeup by Mario, the skin enhancer vibes, without powdering it. Let's try some of that in the crease. I always do that with my bronzer to tie everything in. Because it is so pigmented, I'm gonna go in with an angle brush. Wish this had a mirror. It's almost so glossy it could be a mirror, but it's not a mirror. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a shadow wing. So far, I'm loving the complexion. Then we have the Buttermelt blush, also from NYX, and this is in You Know Butter. It is a shimmering coral, which I'm worried because this could accentuate all my texture, and then I feel like we're going backwards. I'm using my Morphe and Ariel brush because this will disperse it a little bit more, because if it's as pigmented as that bronzer, we're in trouble. A little bit of glow, a little bit of color. I'm going very slow. This I put on a little bit more, wow. So this would last you all your life, just for pigment. It's pretty though, but yeah, it is accentuating a little bit of my texture. I like the color. I would just go over this with more powder so it doesn't have that radiance to it. These formulas almost act like creams because they're so buttery. Very unique, very nice formula. Then to clean up this cheek, I'm just taking that second shade in the palette. Just want things to be a little bit neater. Giving this another little powder. I want to keep that brightness under the eye. This has been one of the things I've been most excited to try. I know with these colored mascaras, some people can be a little bit irritated depending on what color this is. For any mascara, that is, if it has a certain pigment. Some people are more sensitive to others, so I'm hoping I have no issue. I don't typically, but I just have been warned. So this is the CoverGirl Eye Enhancer in Berry Brown. I thought the color would be so perfect for my green eyes, and it has a scooped wand like this. The color on the bristles makes me even more excited. This is the first time me looking at this. So we're going to build this up. I hope I like it. I need a mirror. Nothing in my drugstore stuff that I bought has a mirror. So I'm just looking afar and trying to do my makeup, which is never ideal. I love how soft that looks. Not sure how much of a builder this is going to be. It feels a little bit wet for my liking. My eyes, I do feel like they are pulling more green today. I love the color. I think I'm gonna like this mascara more when it has a chance to dry out, because right now it's just a little bit wet for me, which I find hard to build if it's not really drying, because then it just starts to clump slightly. But again, let's revisit this in a couple weeks when it dries out, when I feel like I'm gonna like it a little bit more. Put on a little bit more blush just to make it show up more. I loved that HD powder underneath my eyes, but I think after doing all that, I think for all over my face, I probably use something else. So far, I do think everything's looking really nice, working beautifully together. We're gonna finish off the lip with this color that went viral. It's one of the Maybelline Lifter liners, and it's in the shade On It. It is so beautiful. I can see why this color went viral because it's my favorite one of the ones I've tried. It's creamy, long wearing, and I love doing a brown liner and a pink lip. Just lightly blending that in. I would just wear the liner on its own. It's such a nice color, but I am going to add a little bit of pink to this lip. This is the Revlon Super Lustrous The Gloss in Sky Pink. Recommendation from Babs Beauty, and I think it's so pretty. Very cool tone, bright, bright pink. Look at that color. I paired these two together yesterday and I loved the outcome. So I wanted to show you guys today. It's so pretty. Look at that lip combo. Isn't it not gorgeous? And it's so shiny. And then to lock everything in, we're going to use the L'Oreal Infallible 3-Second Setting Mist. I'm actually almost done my first can. This is so good. Don't breathe or talk when you use this. And now we're going to be locked down for 36 hours. It is intense. It's a dupe for the One Size. Another product you need if you want your makeup waterproof, transfer resistant, sweat resistant, all the resistance. This will have your back. It is very intense. I don't use this every day, but for a drugstore setting spray, it's my favorite that I've personally found. It is so good. It's really effective at work. Doesn't change the finish of my makeup. It just makes it wear, which I love that for this because I love the finish of all the skin products together. I didn't want to change that. So I just simply have it locked down and it could rain and I'd be okay. So I'm just going to pop off camera, come back. We're going to finish off this video. I'm back. Here is the completed look. Super simple, easy drugstore makeup look to achieve. Let me know what your favorite product is, because in my mind, for how things have been completed, I feel like I have a strong favorite, but I want to know what your favorite product was from this video, what you think looks the best, what you're most interested in. I think everything performed really nicely, so I'm just going to quickly go over all the products I have here. I have the 2 Buttermelt products from NYX, bronzer and the blush, which are very pigmented. I think with a little bit of practice and figuring out the right tools for these, that these will work really nicely for me. So the formula really did impress me. It almost acts more like a cream though than a powder, which makes sense because they are so creamy if you feel the texture of these. These are very promising. I fell in love, obviously, with the NYX finishing powder. I feel like it did a really nice job for my under eyes. Brightened up the area, smoothed it out, and I just think it looks really, really pretty. For a drugstore price point here, I think this is going to be nice for that finishing touch because it is a finishing powder. If I just want to add a little bit of brightness to my under eye, which often I do, I don't want to affect the coverage or color, this is kind of that perfect option to just really add a little bit of brightness to the under eye. And I didn't think it was too bright for all over my face because once I did setting spray, bronzer, and all that, I feel like we're matched quite well. The color of everything turned out nicely, and I think the e.l.f. bronzing drops kind of saved it for me. Otherwise, the complexion might have been a tad too light because the foundation was so sheer. So going into those products, I know I have this from the Inky List, which you can get on Sephora, but I'm going to keep testing this out. It's really affordable, and I think it might be a dupe for Tatcha. It felt really good on the skin. I mixed that in with the e.l.f. bronzing drops, which really did even out my skin and add some color back because I forgot to self-tan my face last night. So this came in really handy for this video. It was perfect timing, honestly. As I was saying in the video, I think it was one of those moments that was meant to happen because I don't often forget to spray my face, but I did last night with my self-tanner. So you could really see that add the color to my skin. Then for the primer, I want to obviously test it out without setting spray and all that just to see how my pores are, how the wear of the foundation is, and all of that. But so far, my skin looks really nice and smooth, and I loved how it applied on. And then the foundation, super moisturizing. I did use quite a bit of this though to get to the finish that I have right now. I think the color is good. I was worried it would be a little too dark, but don't let that deceive you because I don't think it turned out that way on my skin. I think it actually is a really good match for me when I have tan. So this is sand beige. I feel hydrated. I feel really, really hydrated right now, which is nice. I don't feel my skin tight or dry or anything like that. The mascara, I think my lashes have looked better. I do like the color of this, but I feel like for this mascara, I need it to dry out because it was a little too wet and I was having a little bit of issue with application because of that, which I always do with a wetter formula. So it's just personal preference for me. I need it to dry out slightly for me to really see how I like that mascara. My lip combo though, my lips look really good with this. I love this combo and I wore it yesterday, so I had to show you guys today in this video. I had a couple things I could use for testing out drugstore for lips. Tell me how you're liking this lip. I love a brown with a pink. It's just something about it that just looks so good to me. And then for my brows, CoverGirl isn't new. Love that. And the NYX brow glue. We'll see how my brows hold. I feel like my tails always start to move. By the time I'm done doing all my makeup, I feel like they're already moving a bit. It felt more locked down initially. It's a little bit softer, which isn't a bad thing because then it doesn't look crunchy. So I just gotta see how that wears for me. The Quo Beauty concealer palette took me by surprise. I can actually get away with using all the colors for different things. It's a really nice finish. I can't complain with how my skin or my under eyes are looking right now. So just have to test the wear on this as well. And everything is locked down with this. So I'm gonna have to test it separately for wear because this will 100% lock my makeup down all day. So this is just a really easy, effortless look for every day. Let me know if you've tried any of these products and what your favorite was in this tutorial. I would love to know in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this Trying New Makeup Drugstore edition. I definitely want to do more of these dedicated ones in the future, usually for my Trying New Makeup. Kind of have a mixture. I feel like I have a good balance in those videos, but it's nice to have Drugstore all separate for a video because it's nice to see all of them play together. And if you just want to shop Drugstore makeup, it's always a nice video option to look at. So definitely check out my Drugstore haul if you didn't see it. I have a lot more products in that video, but I tried to buy a full face so I could show you in this video. So let me know if you want to see more dedicated Drugstore content in the comments section below. I would love to know. Thank you so much for all your comments, you watching right now. Thank you for your view. If you have not already, I would absolutely love for you to subscribe to my channel by hitting the red subscribe button, the bell to be notified of all my future videos, and I will see you guys in my next one.